4 or 5 years, I can't recall us being that badly beaten in the contest.
There's the siren, and the Kangas have beaten the odds, and they've beaten Port Power. Lindsay Thomas, no one in front of him. This'll hurt. Oh, that does hurt, big time.
There was a look of resignation on their face that what they saw isn't what they expected.
Finds Gibson. Gibson steps inside the 50, lines up. Well worked, North Melbourne.
They've dispatched of North Melbourne by 43 points.
They were never going to make a statement. North Melbourne was simply a victory, but they made the statement in the end with an 87-point victory.
It was touched off the boot. Horribly hit kicks, and that sinks North Melbourne.
The Roos are 5 and 4. They sit in 8th. It's been a topsy-turvy year. The coach is Brad Scott. Welcome to you, Scotty.
Thanks for having me on.
Looks sort of agonising just watching there. It must be tough going in the big seat.
Yeah, it is. It's frustrating, but I mean, the frustrating thing is we're capable. We've shown that at different stages throughout the year, but it's just that consistency performance that separates the top 4 sides from the rest.
Well, we'll speak about the Roos in just a moment, but more on you right now. 3 things we don't know about Brad Scott. You were a freak 800-metre runner. Is that true? What was the time?
Height 153, so 153.6 I think was my best. But
and the 400?
50 flat.
You're not far off the Kenyans.
Oh, I'm a long way off there, mate. The difference in athletics is it may seem small in seconds, but the difference between the best and the rest is not much.
I know. Well, you're only 8 seconds off the world record in the 400, which is about 200 metres.
Yeah,
played
right.
22 games at Hawthorn, as we know, and well done, December 2012. So it's been a pretty full career.
Yeah, it's been solid. I mean, we all would have liked to have played in more premierships. That's why you play, but disappointed to break my leg in the week before the finals of 2003, but I suppose beggars can't be choosers.
Well, you've done a lot better than me right here. Geelong versus North Melbourne, Friday night footy. North, well, they were fancy, but gee, it was a slow start. They closed the gap. In the end, it was 20 points, but it was a horror start, and we'll speak to Scotty about it. But Spike, your game, take us through it.
Yeah, it was a big game, and it was one where you hoped that North could take another big scalp, but Geelong started really quickly. Bartel started in the middle, and good to see this player. He's a gun, this bloke. He's been outstanding for his whole career through Geelong, kicking a goal from the back pocket. Geelong came out and really stamped their authority early, but to North Melbourne's credit, as they always do, they rallied and stayed within the game and always thought that they were a chance to either get in front or be in touching distance. This bloke was outstanding. This is one of his 4 goals. Doesn't like to go back very often, so usually comes out on arc and snaps a goal. As we roll on, Lindsay there, another great goal just to add to the highlight reel. He's been in outstanding form. Majak didn't have a massive game, only 9 possessions, but this was a nice goal through the middle, which they got within 3 goals with 5 minutes to go, but they certainly iced it late in the game, and Geelong had another nice win.
3 things.
Three things I learned. The Cats' youth development is outstanding. We know how good they are at bringing their young players through. They really do step up to the mark when required. Number 2, the Roos missed a golden opportunity. We know they're a quality side. They'd had beaten Sydney and Fremantle, of course, but we just hoped that they'd beat Geelong, but they need to step up once again. And Bartel and Kelly are still A-graders in the competition. They are really, really talented players, and they'll be held in great regard when they certainly leave the club.
A lot to try and stop Scotty in the Geelong midfield.
Yeah, it was a little bit unpredictable on the night. Bartel's played most of his footy forward this year and Kelly mostly back, but with Stevie Johnson out, it's a great luxury to have to be able to bring those quality players into the midfield, and they really got a hold of our midfield early, and our guys came back a bit late, but the damage was done early.
And Scotty, Tom Hawkins played a really good game. We find him really hard to match up on as defenders because he's so strong and you can't get around him, and I think you've probably just got to stop the ball use going into him rather than actually try and beat him one-on-one. Yeah, I mean, look, the contested possession stat flattered us in the end. We only finished 3 down, but we were about 15 down, 15 minutes into the game. So when you give Hawkins that sort of supply, and he's looking really good, he's got his power back and he looked quicker than I've ever seen him. So when you combine that with his sheer size and strength, he's a formidable force.
Scotty, your record against the Cats in recent times is very good. How do you bridge the gap between your best, which beats the ladder leader, and your worst, which is a long way off it? I mean, that's the question. If you can answer, I assume things are a lot easier. How do you narrow it?
Oh, look, I think it's pretty simple. It's the reason why we're not a top 4 contender right at the moment. I mean, we, like some sides, when you produce your best, you're capable of beating most. But the thing that separates those good sides is they do it minute to minute, quarter to quarter, game to game, and we're not at that stage yet, which is frustrating because we know we're capable.
Why do you think you're not there?
Well, it's a lot of things. I mean, it's maturity, it's consistency of effort, and at the moment we've got a lot of players who are on the cusp. I mean, you talked about Bartel and Kelly before, being elite players. And our midfield at the moment, we potentially think they're going to be really, really good players, but they're not at that stage yet. And they've got to do it consistently before we talk about them in the same sentence as Kelly and Bartel.
Well, Levi Greenwood obviously had a great game, but his consistency in his form this year has been notable. Has his role changed? Or is this a maturity thing?
Oh, look, his body's now... he had a really injury-interrupted season last year, and he's a real competitor, very strong, very quick, and got very good endurance. So as a football athlete, he ticks all the right boxes, and he's just getting an even run at it now, and he's injury-free. So he's an important player for us.
Scotty, Andrew Swallow we all admire as a leader and as a player. 15 possessions on the weekend, 18 the week before, a few games in the reserves. How's he travelling, and how does he look over the next month in bringing him back into that A-grade type football that we know he's capable of?
Well, probably not chasing the quickest player on the ground, Jordan Murdoch, down the wing is a good start. But, look, we know he's going to take probably 8 weeks to get back to his brilliant best.
Has he pulled up well every time?
Yeah, he's pulled up really well. And he's an absolute professional. So, we thought that he'd take at least this long to come back and play. And our side's better off having him in the side. But we know it's going to take time to get back to his best. And Jared Roughead came back from the same injury and had a terrific year last year, but he took 12 months before he got back to his best, so we expect the same with Andrew.
Scotty, 5th year in the job. From day one when you went in and you set the game plan and you talked about your coaching philosophies, how much of that has changed and how much of that is because the game's been changing each year, or is it you still got the same philosophies or same belief?
Yeah, I think your philosophy is fairly set in terms of the way you coach, and what you're coaching tends to change from year to year a little bit just with the evolution of the game. And you look at the best and you look at yourselves and you look how you can exploit the opposition based on what your strengths are. And the game is always evolving. That's why I'm always a fan of letting the game evolve naturally. And coaches tweak their strategies. And at the moment we're seeing, I thought the game against Geelong on Friday night was a fairly attacking game. I mean, Geelong really attacked us early and we couldn't handle it. But once we adjusted, we got the game back on our terms. And I think it was a pretty pure game of footy.
Brad, in the backyard, cricket, football, marbles, the bloke I like beating the most in anything is my brother. Is it the same with you? You were tall coming to Friday night. Is there? I know you don't like talking about it's the teams, but do you like beating Chris more than any other coach?
No, I think it's the least satisfying win, to be honest. Chris and I have always been really competitive, but I think, I'll be honest in saying that if North Melbourne don't win the flag this year, I hope Geelong do. We've always enjoyed each other's success.
Brad, regarding coaching philosophies and things, I'm intrigued. I think we got some footage about something you guys have been trying before a game with the lights out. I think footy's all between the head these days. What's your mindset here?
Well, I think that most people think these days that footy's all rah-rah and get as pumped up as you can, whereas players at this level are highly motivated, and most of the time it's controlling arousal levels on the downside. So trying to bring players back down a little bit from that really high arousal state. And I think the physical advantage that sides get is very, very minimal. I think the really big opportunity in the game is to get players in the right frame of mind. Clearly we're not doing it very well at the moment because our starts are poor, but it's the same routine we had last year when we were the best first quarter side in the competition, so we've got to keep working on it.
Perfect environment for the kleptomaniac, that sort of 30 seconds just to go pickpocketing. It's also a perfect environment to get some cash into the tins. It's the day that the salvos come around to the doors. If you've got some cash, please find a moment to find some coins. They're all rattling in the crowd. salvationarmy.org.au is where you can donate online. So if you've got an opportunity today, there's a lot, but they're doing it very tough, and the salvos do an enormous job. Time for a break. Scotty's staying with us. Will the Roos recruit a man even taller than Sandilands? The Blues' greatest moments in 150 years, and Scott Pendlebury's coming as well. And footy flashbacks today, and Sunday footy still to come on Channel 7. Stay with us. We're going back.
Sunday footy continues with a flashback to remember the career of one of footy's more colourful champions. Then it's the modern-day Dogs' time to shine when they meet the Suns. And in South Australia, the Crows clash with the Blues at 4. Never gonna miss. Sunday means footy, and it's all on 7.
Jonathan Giovanni, he's a recruit kind of out there for the NBA. He does a lot of recruiting for them, and he saw me play against Gonzaga, and he said, do you want to come out and do this combine in LA? I said, yeah, sure. I don't have anything going on that weekend. Let's go try it out. YouTube AFL, obviously. YouTube to figure out more about it, and then from there, did really well in the AFL combine, and I'm here and trying out different teams and did a showcase yesterday. It's something foreign to me. I've never seen it on any kind of sports channels in the United States. I just tell people to YouTube it. My dad's all about it now. He thinks he's an expert after 3 weeks of looking up stuff. He's got the little the goal thing that the referees do. He's doing that the other day. They're all about it. They're really supportive in everything I've done. Obviously, I'm gonna need to learn a lot more of the skill stuff because it's something you just acquire over time. But as of right now, it's athletically. I know a lot of people have said that I can keep up with some of the other guys.
He's a big man. That is Mason Cox from Oklahoma, and maybe the Roos will pick him up with international rookie opportunity. You saw him last week, Brad.
Yep.
What do you think?
I think he's got absolute potential to make a go of AFL footy. He's got exceptional speed and agility for someone his size, and he's taller than Aaron Sandilands. So, for someone that size to move as well as he does, and he gets down to ground level really well. He's got good endurance, coming off He runs about a 12-minute 3K, which doesn't sound fantastic, but for someone his size, it's quite an impressive starting point. So we'll have some competition from Richmond and Collingwood, I'd imagine, but we'd love him to keep that jumper on long term.
What do you do with an international rookie? You negotiate a number with him. He's been offered a job. He's an engineer?
Yeah, he's a mechanical engineer. He's graduated from his university in Texas, and ExxonMobil have offered him a full-time position as a mechanical engineer, so potentially he'll take a pay cut to come out and try his hand at AFL footy, but the mechanical engineering will always be there. The AFL opportunity is only a short-term one.
What about Eric Wallace? How's he rolling along?
Yeah, and that's why we're really excited by Mason Cox, because Eric started off a much lower base than Mason, but you can see from the vision here, his ability to read the ball in flight and his hand-eye coordination is really good. That's sort of stuff that takes players a long time to get to know and to learn. And the way he's improved over the last 12 months gives us confidence that we can do a similar sort of thing with Mason.
Do you think Eric has the ability to play AFL?
Yeah, no doubt. And he again is he's got a double degree, and he's an intelligent guy, and he's shown a real aptitude for the game. So as a key forward, backup ruckman, I think he's got great potential.
Scotty, I want to ask you about Majak Daw, and he's copped some criticism this week, probably unfairly. And you made the comment that he's a rookie making rookie mistakes at times.
Yeah.
Do you think the criticism's fair?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yep.
I mean, he's played 10 games. Let's be honest, Majak is coming from a non-traditional football background. He's a refugee from the Sudan who's played 10 games. Tom Hawkins you couldn't have a better football pedigree than Tom Hawkins. His father was a great player, and Tom took a long time to hit his straps, and now is an elite key forward of the competition. Majak needs a bit more time, and we're going to have to work out what's best for the team in the short and long term, but I'm convinced that Majak's got a future in the long term. In the short term, we're going to have to weigh it up week to week.
Scotty, you talked about your midfield and your A-graders. One real A-grader is obviously Daniel Wells. Where's he at with his injury?
Yeah, Wells is going to be a few weeks away, I think. He's been diagnosed with a Liz Frank injury, which is a ligament in his foot, and quite often they can be 8-week injuries, and he's been 5 weeks so far, so we hope he's not too far away.
You always take a punt when you grab an older player from another club, but you must be really pleased with Nick.
Yeah, Nick Del Santo's been outstanding for us, and I've said publicly before that we knew what we were getting as a player, and those sort of numbers are pretty reflective of his career, maybe even a bit better than his average, but his leadership off-field's been outstanding for us, and he's a quality person, and whenever you can get quality people like that who can play footy like Nick can, you grab it with both hands.
Boomer has been around at the club slightly longer than Nick. This is his 40th year or something with the Roos. He's 7th on the games list right now. I think at the end of the year, barring injury, he ends up about 4th. Is it possible that he becomes the #1 games record holder in the AFL?
It's definitely possible. Look, Michael Tuck and Kevin Bartlett might be a little bit frustrated with the sub rule, because I think that's going to prolong Boomer's career. But I mean, he's a player who's, I think, up to about 7 one-year contracts in a row now. and that's the way he approaches his footy. It's the way he approaches every game. That you know, he doesn't look too far ahead, and you know, when he finally finishes, the number will be the number. But he doesn't look that far ahead, and he certainly doesn't have goals or aspirations to be the game's record holder. He just wants to keep playing good footy each week, and he's doing that.
Scotty, Scotty obviously played a lot of footy with Dustin Fletcher, and what keeps him so refreshed is, and his longevity in the game is, he still reads the play very, very well. Boomer, his speed, he hasn't seemed to have lost it. He gets to every contest and he can still get away from his opponent when he's getting tagged each week. It's amazing he's still got it.
Yeah, it is, and he's probably still the #1 target from most opposition teams. So he thought at 36 he might pass the tag on to someone else, but he's still getting it. But no, he's a modern marvel. We both have May birthdays. He's only 2 years younger than I am, which makes me feel pretty ordinary at times. But yeah, he sets a great example for our team, and I haven't seen a player in my time prepare better to play this game. So he's a great role model.
Brad, you spoke about Chris and your affection, it's obvious. Great honour for him to be inducted last night into the Lions Hall of Fame. Just a word on Michael Voss as well, who became a legend last night.
Now, Michael Voss is the best player I've ever played with or against, and that's a pretty big statement, and it frustrates Kangaroos people because I played against Wayne Carey too. But I saw Vossi up close, and I've never seen anyone influence a game like he could. When we needed to get up and get the job done in a tight game, it was invariably Vossi who did it. So, true legend, not only of the Brisbane Lions but of the AFL, and you know, great honour for Chris Johnson and Darryl White and my brother, obviously, to be inducted into that Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah, congratulations to all of those inducted last night. Huge honour, a wonderful club. Quick hands, and then I'll let you go and enjoy your Sunday. Is it true you once left the sunroof open on a sponsor's car in a torrential downpour?
Yeah, well, it wasn't a torrential downpour at the time, I can tell you, but yeah, there it is there, yeah, the other side, yep. So, the Mazda, but yeah, it wasn't the smartest thing I've done in my time.
Speaking of cars, Scotty, is it true that only the chairman, the CEO and yourself have specially reserved car parks at Arden Street?
No, that's not true. The chairman and the CEO don't have one.
Mate, I'm intrigued to hear, is it true? Have you personally used your own frequent flyers to upgrade players to business class?
Yeah, I have done that, yeah. But, you know, I feel sorry for the big ruckmen who have to sit in economy, so when we can get them upgraded, we try our best.
Well done.
Well played.
Scotty, is it true that you received a sanction from the playing group for bringing your now wife onto a pre-season camp?
Yeah, it is true. The boys weren't happy with it, but I claimed a bit of unfairness there because she was actually there before the camp, but you know, I'll take it. I think it's a fair enough criticism.
Brad, thank you for coming on. Always really nice to see you.
Cheers, thanks, Brad.
Brad Scott, the Roos in the 8 and they're pressing hard. Scotty Penderbury still to come. Unbelievable access into the Port Inner Sanctum. We've got lots to talk about. I hope you can stay with us on this Sunday morning.